Okay, right guys, welcome back to RampantLionReviews. This is something completely new on the channel. So we have our very first Meet the Brewer, and I'm joined by Hannes Gruber from Nerd Brewing here in Malmö, who is the best rated brewer on Untappd, unless you count the meaderies.
Yeah.
Unless you count the meaderies, but yeah, is that beer? I don't know, but mead is awesome. We do have to say mead is awesome, but the question is it really beer?
It's good.
It's good, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. But yeah, no, it's Hannes very kindly agreed to do an interview for us. I'm probably going to be terrible at this for the first few videos because this is the very first one.
We can be terrible together.
We can be terrible together, yeah. So I will see. But yeah, have you done video interviews before?
A few.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Who did you do them with?
I've done it with the Untappd podcast, beer news, stuff like that.
Ah, okay, yeah. So guys, that's a really good one actually. Pretty much all the information I get on the breweries for the videos comes from beernews.sa, and this is basically a group of 3 journalists who do this as a kind of, it's their side project, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it's if they have more stuff going on, but Romy especially does an incredible job.
Yeah. No, I mean, they've got. You can go on there and you can find pretty much any. You can go on there and find information about pretty much any brewery from any part of Sweden. So I think that's how I got the information about you originally. And then after the first video, you messaged me and told me lots of other stuff about beers and things like that as well. So one thing you will find in the Swedish beer culture is that for those of you who are watching abroad, there's a great desire for information and stuff, and it's very open. Like a lot of people make fun of Swedes a little bit for being so private, but really in the beer nerd community it's not like that at all. I don't think it's one of the areas where everyone talks to everyone.
I think so. I think everyone tries to help each other out.
Yeah, there's really, I think across the world there's a spirit of cooperation with beer, but in Sweden I think it's even more pronounced.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have our first question. So guys, I am having to use the notes, the cheat sheet, so I remember to ask the questions, the right questions and things like this. So, Hannes, can you tell us, what was your first encounter with craft beer?
It all started with a friend of mine and a colleague. We worked at the same company. He was really into craft beer. This was way back. Before there were lots of beers available like now. So he did lots of imports of stuff you couldn't get anywhere else, and got everyone to ship in on okay, we need to buy a case of this one, and so he organized this import stuff. So he was the one to get me really interested in crazy beer.
Oh, okay. So was this like Belgians or was it American stuff or?
Lots of everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, at the time there were very little at Systembolaget. Not like now when there's 150 beers being released each month.
Yeah. No, that's So this is the thing now you've heard me complain on the videos quite a lot, and this is one of the reasons why you didn't find Hannes's beer for so long in Sweden, was that it was very, very difficult for local breweries like yourself to get into Systembolaget, and
it's a bit hard.
Yeah. Is it still quite hard even now?
It depends on what you mean. I like to brew new beer all the time, and with Systembolaget, there's several months before you have to send in samples and labels and everything, and it takes a lot, at least 3 months before you can sell the beer. And so that's why I haven't done it as much previously, because you have to really plan a lot and decide on what to brew, make a really long schedule. So it has always been a lot easier for me to export, since Glasbanken and my other export customers, they basically just ask me, oh, do you have anything new? pick it up later this week. Yeah,
why not? Because I know that the Dutch guys down at the Dutch Beer Collective, other beer tubers down there, they've been reviewing some of the Nerd stuff recently, and I think some of the English guys actually have some of your beers now as well.
We just sent 2 pallets to England, so it arrived like a few days ago.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's quite quick, because I'm sure, I think it was Rob Hopsey, I'm sure it was him that was telling me he tried a couple of your beers, because he asked me about your stuff. Because I think in total now, I think I've maybe done 4, 5 reviews of your stuff. But yeah, so yeah, guys, those of you watching abroad again, you might find some of the Nerd stuff in England, the Netherlands. Where else are you saying? Denmark, obviously.
Denmark, obviously. We sent beers to China, Japan, Australia. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. That's maybe I'll find some of your beers with my guy in Osaka actually.
Maybe.
So maybe that's. I've got a guy in Osaka who like keeps all the Japanese stuff that I want for me. So it's awesome. He's got his shop is like I know it was his grandfather or his father's soy sauce factory, and he turned it into a beer shop. Cool. So it's pretty awesome actually. That's if you go to Osaka. Give me a message and I'll show you where to check this out. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, no, so that's cool. So yeah, Systembolaget, as you can see, is it's an interesting one because for consumers like me, it's good because it keeps the prices of the beer down because it's non-profit. So the money in some ways, yeah, a little bit goes to the government to maintain the shops and pay the wages, but I think the majority of what you pay does tend to go to brewers, I think. So
yeah, at least I think the markup price is lower than what you could expect somewhere else.
Yeah, because that's it. Yeah, everyone has to make their share. But yeah, there's a lot of breweries in Scotland at least now who are only selling direct to the customers because they found that they'll obviously give it to local shops and things, but a lot of them are stopping with certain companies and stuff because they found like how they're learning what prices people are actually paying for their beer, and they're like, oh, this is just crazy for this kind of beer. But yeah, so Systembolaget, this is an interesting one. I think that's maybe a good question to ask the Swedish brewers in particular in the future. So yeah, Systembolaget, for those of you abroad, this is our state monopoly in Sweden that you have to buy anything that's over 3.5%, you have to buy in Systembolaget. Good for the consumers, difficult for the brewers in terms of paperwork. So yeah, it's getting better. I think the laws are liberalising more, so we'll see how it evolves over.
I think if we were able to sell our beers directly to customers at the brewery, that would mean a lot.
I know that in Finland they've done that. In Finland they've just introduced that with alcohol. So yeah, maybe that's something that Systembolaget can look at. Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Our next question then. This is what was the first beer you remember you enjoyed?
I've enjoyed quite a lot of beers in my time, but I think going back to this friend of mine, Martin, who did these imports way back, he got me lots of interesting beers. One I really remember is an Icelandic beer actually called Lava, and a smoked imperial stout. That was like a wow.
Yeah, Oversold, yeah.
It was a wow moment. Haven't had it in quite a while.
I've not seen that in a long time, but that was one of the first.
Yeah.
I might be telling you lies, but I remember that was one of the Icelandic beers I reviewed like back in 2015 or something, because I know the brewer from Oversold went to work for Brewery, who are the ones that number their beers.
Yeah.
So yeah, because they've got the sheep shit smoked beer and things like that as well. So yeah, it's quite interesting. The Icelandics have some very, very interesting beers. But that's cool. That's Lava. That's a beer I've not thought about in a long time. So guys, if you ever see Oversold Lava, honestly, like very, very good beer. Yeah. So I guess that takes us on to your favourite styles and any particular beer that is like one of your favourites.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious what my favorite style is, right?
Yeah.
Imperial stouts. It's most of what I do is imperial stouts. I think I really like the bold flavors and that you can do a lot with it. I mean, it's a style that it really works well to play with different flavors, different like adding cocoa nibs or vanilla or whatever. So it's a great style in that sense as well, that you can really play with it and complement the flavors from the base beer with different stuff. Like I tend to do.
Oh yeah, because I remember the first time I tried your beer, and it was Malmö Ölfestivalen or Öl and Whiskey Festival, and it was I think I tried 3. I think it was the stout, and we tried the original. I'm sure there was a vanilla one and there was a chili one, and it was and I think it was exactly the same beer. You just put the original, you put the 2 adjuncts in it as well. And I remember that thinking that that was my first ever encounter with Nerd beer. So that would have been 2016 maybe? 2016?
2015 was the first year I was at the Beer and Whiskey Festival.
Whoa! Oh, we've lost our lights. Yeah. So yeah.
There's a sensor somewhere.
Ah. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, guys, we've got the that's funny, yeah. But I think my first encounter with I'm sure it was 2016. I think 2016 was the first time I went to the Malmö Whiskey Festival. So yeah, first time I tried Nerd beer was back in 2016, and I think the first review was 2018. Maybe. I'm sure it was 2018. So yeah, it took me 3 years from trying Nerd beer to actually being able to review one for you. So that kind of shows you how difficult some of the Systembolaget laws are.
In the beginning, I didn't produce much. I mean, I just I was a gypsy brewer or whatever you want to call it. So I rented the equipment, brewed I brewed here, which now this is my brewery, but also at South Plains next door. And then it was just from when I had the time, so I didn't produce much. It was just like maybe a few thousand liters each year.
Oh yeah, because I know there's a lot of breweries. I think Jämerdalen and Handelsbrygga way up north, they only produce 5,000 a year. And I guess in some ways they're quite similar to you, because it's you've got the barrel aging and all of this. So yeah, was that? Do you remember how much you brewed in like your first year or 2?
No, but it was less than 10,000 liters easily. And I did everything. I mean, hand bottling everything. Of course, waxing the bottles, hand labeling.
Oh yeah, so that just
took a while.
Yeah, a hell of a lot of hours. So yeah, so in some ways that kind of puts you off doing more until you can get the infrastructure for it. And yeah, incidentally, there's some really, in this little brewery, there's some really interesting solutions to things. So we'll show you some of these later. Actually, these are very, very cool. So yeah, I guess so Nerd Brewing are very kind of well known for their imperial stouts, obviously, as Hannes is kind of saying. And more recently there's been a few other styles. So there was the New England IPA that I tried 18 months ago. Yeah, I think something like that. And then recently you've just seen me review the barley wine. So we are starting to see some more kind of styles from you as well.
I like other styles besides imperial styles as well. But so we're trying different stuff. Barley wine is also one of my favorite styles. It needs a lot of time to mature.
Yeah. Is it? Am I remembering they take about like 3 months or 6 months to mature?
Actually, the one you tried, finally, it was a full year before selling the beer. From brew day to release was exactly a year.
Oh, geez.
So I had it in the stainless steel tanks for the first 6 months, and then aging in the bottle for the next 6 months.
Oh yeah, it's craziness.
So it's difficult in that sense, because you need to store it for quite some time.
Because you have to let the hops drop as well, and the malts kind of come out and equal out as well. That's the thing, yes. So I mean, The only beer I can think of that takes longer than that comes to mind is the Flanders Red, the Rodenbachs and things like that. That's the only one I can think of that you need longer time for. So yeah, on that note then, have you got what is your kind of go-to beer? What is your desert island beer?
If you're on a desert island, maybe Imperial Stout isn't really what you want to drink. At least if it's somewhere like a tropical island, which hopefully it is if you're stuck there for the rest of your life. Then I think something a little bit lighter and hoppy. I think an IPA or a dry hop lager maybe.
Oh yeah, some dry hop lager would be very nice actually. Yeah.
Maybe something like this.
Oh yeah. 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 So guys, that was Elm 11, who are a very new Swedish brewery based in Malmö. And that's another point we can make actually, is that for a long time Malmö, I think really it was just Malmö Brewing Company as a brew pub that were going. I think if I remember rightly, they're the oldest brewery in
I would
the
think
city.
so, yeah.
And hopefully you will see Anders Hansson do one of these interviews at some point as well. But now you've got so many. I mean, we're in this brewery that we're in just now. Hannes shares this with Lille Fabriken. You share it with Chad Beer, and then next door there's also South Plains Brewing as well, and then there's various other breweries popping up in Malmö these days as well. We've got Rocket, of course, who will do one of these later, and they've just moved across from Copenhagen. So Skåne's beer scene's doing very well now.
One thing that's really interesting in Malmö is the small brewery called -1 at the Bishop's Arms in Gustav Adolfs torg. Really small nano brewery that lets homebrewers brew there and sell the beer in the pub. Elm 11 comes from there.
I remember, because there's a few. Yeah, there's quite a few. I think we were talking earlier on about the Malmö Beer Week beer, and that was the one that had pretty much everyone collaborating on it, and a lot of the brewers that were involved there, I think it was at least 6 or 7 out of the 13 or 14 that were involved. At least half of them had done stuff at this.
Unfortunately, I was away when it was brewed, but I followed on Facebook.
Oh yeah, that's it, guys. Keep an eye on the Instagram and the social media. The Swedish breweries are very, very active on that. Yeah. Okay, so we had your desert island beer would be like a nice dry hop lager or an IPA. What about? Is there any kind of? For me, I would always say I don't really drink outside the beer videos these days, to be honest. But my sort of go-to would always be Left Blonde or Pilsner Urquell or something like that. Do you have a sort of go-to session beer that you like to sip on?
Not really. I'm one of those people that always try new stuff. So I don't really have this go-to beer. So no, not really. But I try lots of different beers, which is easy now when System Budget, when the releases are. It's more difficult now not to buy everything.
Oh yeah, that's it. There's too much. The Systembolaget are giving us. Sweden complained for so long there wasn't enough beer. Now there's too much to choose from. That's it. It's just that's how things go. So yeah, our next question then is it's about the next two are about traveling and things like that, and beer destinations and beer festivals. So what is your favourite beer festival in Sweden, Europe, and then anywhere else in the world?
I guess I have to mention. It's where I started was the Beer and Whiskey Festival in Malmö. It's maybe not my favorite because it's more commercial. I would say the Great Swedish Beer Festival that started last autumn was really great. And of course, Brewski Bar.
Oh yes, Brewski Bars. I must do. Have you taken part in GBG Beer Week or All In Festival yet?
No, I haven't. It would be fun to well, we'll see when festivals can happen again.
Oh yeah, no, that's we're still in the middle of the Corona pandemic, so we need to see how that goes. So probably the best beer festivals in Sweden, I think. Yeah, Brewskival. I didn't actually know about the Great Swedish Beer Festival.
Did you miss it?
I didn't know about that one. I'll need to check that out. Because usually I get people to ask me, "Oh, are you going to this festival?" Nobody asked me if I was going to the Great Swedish Beer Festival.
It was Glenn Paulson, who worked for the Malmö Beer and Whiskey Festival. He left that company and then somehow he got involved in the Great Swedish Beer Festival as well, together with Eric. And they managed to gather 100 Swedish breweries at the same festival. Only Swedish breweries. Because when they told us about their plans, they said okay, we're aiming for 75, and we were sounds hard, but they managed to get 100 breweries together.
Oh yeah.
At Snapphuset. It was really nice.
Yeah, because I think, if I remember rightly, there's about 450 breweries in Sweden in total these days. Probably more than that now, because there's always new ones popping up.
And 100 was the limit because of how many people you could have in Snapphuset.
Oh yeah.
So it was maxed out.
It's craziness, yeah. So I guess I need to check this one out then. The Great Swedish Beer Festival. So guys, maybe I'll see some of you there in the next time, whenever they actually do it now. Who knows?
Hopefully, they are aiming at having it in October, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll wait to see it. Oh, the next question then would be, obviously there's great travel destinations in the world for beer. Prague, Bamberg, Brussels, different places. Have you done much sort of beer tourism, and where would your...
Not really. No, I haven't done any beer-focused traveling, but I always make sure to visit places. If I go somewhere, I do some research and visit places that have great beer, of course.
Local breweries, rate beer, the rate beer map system.
Yeah. So it's hard. I mean, I was in Lisbon some time ago. It was a really nice town with lots of places with good beer and lots of great food.
Yeah, I've actually never been down to Iberia. I've never been to Spain, to mainland Spain at least, or to Portugal. So that's one that's on my list, because we know Barcelona's got a hell of a lot of good beer. Madrid is kicking off from what I gather, and all the other cities like Basque Land. I know that's a very good region. I think there's a rule in Europe that if a country is good at wine, they tend to be good at beer. The Italians have got some great stuff. Slovenia and Greece as well. I've been really impressed with the beers that I've tried from there recently as well. So I guess now, so we've talked about beer travelling and things like that, we can move on to the story of Nerd Brewing and how you started up. So we were talking about this a little bit earlier, so can you take us back to, you were talking about your kind of home brewing roots and things like this.
So once again, back to Martin, my friend who started this import stuff. It didn't take too long before I wanted to try to brew beer. When I realized how flavorful it could be, it didn't take too long before I wanted to try to make it myself. So I started like everyone else, like getting some...
Oh, here we go. This is going to happen again. There we go.
Nice. I started off like doing pretty basic stuff in the kitchen. Just a big pot with... started with like a little bit of malt extract and a little bit of more specialty malts, and experimented a lot of reading on the internet, how to do and stuff like that. Started a blog, writing down my recipes recipes and how I did stuff. Then it all escalated.
It escalated and it moved out of the kitchen and became a very big kitchen.
Yeah. So Martin is the one to blame for all this.
So I've got something similar with my friend Daniel from Germany. He was the one that got me into the Rauch beers, and so this is the whole reason for the YouTube channel. So Daniel, it's your fault. But he admits that he's been on the videos and said, I'm sorry. He's apologised. But this is... You were talking as well, because this is something that I hadn't picked up in the videos. The Nerd beers say open source beer, and this was the thing you were saying earlier. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Since I had a blog while homebrewing, I always published the recipes. I didn't really see why I should stop doing that, just because I went pro or. So I just kept releasing the recipes. I've always been open with how I do stuff, the recipes. So you can find the recipes online, and if there's one missing, could be. It's just ask and I'll add it.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. I think it's 70 beers that you've done roughly now, 70-ish. Yeah. So you're trying to keep up to date, but keep track of all of them must be quite.
Yeah. I rebuilt the website a while back, and I haven't added all the recipes yet. There's always more urgent stuff to do, but if someone wonders anything, just ask. Send me an email or whatever.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, guys, this is the great thing about the Swedish beer scene. You can just go and talk to brewers and things like this, and they're usually very, very open with telling you about their beers and giving you the information. It's a very information-hungry culture, I think, the Swedish beer scene, definitely. So can you take us through you talked about your home brewing roots then, can you take us through the sort of timeline of the company so far? And maybe as well where you want to take the company, what you would aim for in the next 5-10 years or something?
Yeah, like I said, in the beginning, gypsy brewing, from time to time, brewing at other breweries, usually late evenings, late nights.
Oh yeah.
When I wasn't at work, and then gradually increased production, and then I merged with Lilla Ölfabriken and Shadbeer, so that now we run one company instead of 3 separate companies. So we are one company with 3 different brands instead. Way more efficient. Since I want to focus on the brewing, not the admin stuff. So it's been great. We help each other out. Wouldn't have been able to produce this much if I hadn't merged with them.
So your business, you're quite happy in the sense that you can focus on the actual beer rather than the business side.
Of course, there's lots of other stuff. Lots of other stuff as well, but at least not that much like bookkeeping and stuff.
So when you started homebrewing, when was that roughly? Like 2010,
11 maybe?
So 2010, 11, and then your first, when you first actually registered the company, when was that roughly?
2015.
So 2015, then you were at Malmö Whiskey Festival the first time in 2015.
That was the first beer.
Okay, and then you started brewing in South Plains and here around. Is that roughly around that time as well?
The first beer was I brewed it at South Plains, but he didn't have a tank available, so we actually ran a hose through the ventilation system in here, so it fermented in here.
Okay. So it was This is one of the maybe a first for Sweden, the first beer transferred by hose between breweries.
Yeah.
There you go. Nerd Brewing, pioneering from the early days. There you go. There you go. And that is proper nerd stuff as well.
And that was actually an IPA with lemongrass.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Maybe it's time to revisit that one again.
Maybe, yeah. So you maybe see more light kind of style beers coming out from Nerd Brewing over the next while. But so now, do you know how much are you producing roughly per year now? And when did the sort of merge of the companies?
The merge of the companies was. We ran it as one company for quite a while before officially signing all the documents and stuff. But it's maybe 2 years ago, and then we have gradually increased production, and now production went down quite a bit because of Corona. But so it's a little bit hard to say, but it's maybe. So we have 8,500 liters of tank space here, and it's usually takes about 2 months to produce a stout. But of course we do other beers as well. But it's maybe 30,000 liters.
20,000, 30,000 per year. Okay. Oh, yeah. So that's for a stout brewer, a specialist imperial stout brewer that's got lots of like barrel aging and stuff like this in it. I think that's pretty impressive because you were telling me earlier these 8 barrels that we have behind us are 10. Yeah, 8. Yeah, sorry, can't count. I used to be a maths teacher as well. That's shocking. You did these because of the coronavirus. So you thought age the beers.
Yeah, we figured that maybe we won't be able to sell as much, so we might just as well put some away, waiting for a happier times.
Oh yeah. Well, that we'll need to see. These will be interesting to try, I guess, when we do that. But yeah, that's your history. That's a nice kind of history of the company that you've given us. So the other thing that we didn't really say was it really, what exactly was it that pushed you to go from home brewer into like commercial?
It was I started back when I was home brewing. I started competing a little bit in. There's a home brewing competition here in Malmö, which I competed in, and also the Swedish national Swedish championships in home brewing, whatever it's called. People really like my beer, and then a friend of mine, actually at the time, back to Martin again, his girlfriend at the time was more into also a beer nerd, but not as much into brewing and more like tasting and stuff like that. She was the one that pushed me to actually start a company, so we started it together. That's how it all started.
Because I remember after one of the other reviews, you told me that she'd left the company in like 2017.
She caught it. She didn't really have the time to continue. She also switched jobs, so going from more consultancy to more
working full time.
Yeah, exactly. So she didn't really have the time anymore. That's when I also realized that I really need to cooperate with someone else. So that's also when I started cooperating more with Shad Beer and with Alpha.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. Yeah, that's quite nicely rounded actually. And now it's you who's the main man kind of steering the Nerd brand, if you like.
Yeah. I still only work part time with Brewery, but keeping my normal job as a programmer.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm kind of doing as well at the moment. So we're training and coding at the moment, and then moving full time into that a little bit later, I think. So yeah, that's how many. Well, you say this is your part-time job, but how many hours do you put into the brewery per week? Full time.
I work 80% at my normal job, and that should mean I work 20% here. But as you might be able to guess, that's maybe not the case. Yeah. Slightly more.
Just a little bit, just slightly more. So the name, we never touched on the name of the brewery, Nerd Brewing. Is that just you're a beer nerd?
Yeah, and a computer nerd as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I don't really remember how I came up with it, but being a beer nerd and a computer nerd, and from the beginning, I always name my beers after like programming terms.
Where does finally come from? Is that you find the code finally works?
No, it's when you how to explain this, but you're a little bit into coding. So if you know what a try catch is, if you want to do something that might cause an error, you can surround it with a try catch. So try this. If something goes wrong, catch the error. Maybe like print something or do something, and then you can add a finally.
And just input validation, and then finally.
Yeah,
and then,
for instance, and then you can add a finally clause as well. So and then finally do this. So that's where it goes.
Oh, right, fair enough.
So it's a term from Java.
Oh, okay. I've not really done Java yet. I'm just going to start off with Java quite soon. It's mainly Python that I've done so far. With I did that as part of physics and things. So yeah, I need to get more into Java. But yeah, so yeah, a lot. There you go then. A lot of the beers at Nerd Brewing, and we have our catch thing. Let's do this.
We talk too much.
Yeah. Oh, it's not wanting to do it this time. What? It definitely doesn't want to do it this time. There we go. I think we need to leave these in just because it is quite funny, actually. We need to go. But yeah, so yeah, a lot of your Nerd Brewing beers then are named after different programming terms and stuff like this. So I guess our last two questions then would be, what is the beer that you are most proud of brewing, and then what are your future plans for Nerd Brewing?
The beer I'm most proud. It's hard. It's like, which one of your children do you like most? Right? You can't really. It's usually one of the ones. Some recent beers. I think the one that stands over there, which hasn't even gotten a label yet, with aged on tonka beans and coconut.
Oh yeah.
I think that one turned out really good. We'll see when it's released. It would be called Boolean.
As in sure false values.
Yes,
exactly.
So I think that one turned out really good. It will be interesting to see what people think.
Tonka beans are beautiful flavors. I really like tonka beans.
And the one over there.
Does this one have a label?
That's actually, I know you like coffee stouts.
Okay.
So,
is that this one?
Maybe we should open it.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Let's do this. We can do a little tasting because we're just rounding off. We're just rounding off this anyway. We just need to watch for the lights again.
Yeah.
Cool. So this one is called Dalgona.
Yeah, it's actually called Inline. But it's
awesome, thank you.
Dalgona coffee-inspired beer. So it's Dalgona coffee is when you use instant coffee and whisk it up with sugar and air to make like a frothy like head, serve it on ice and milk.
Okay.
So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So what percentage are we talking about this guy?
it's around 11%. Can't remember the lab result right now, but
Yeah. Good. So yeah.
so it has obviously coffee and a little bit of vanilla to enhance the sweetness and also lactose.
I find the coffee in this one, because I think coffee beans are like a really fascinating adjunct to brew with, because the height above sea level that you grow them, and this one I find like the roast is very smooth, but I find this one like quite aromatic. It's not so citrusy, but I think it comes across like quite just like a touch floral, I think, as well, and I think that goes well with the kind of base that you've got in this one as well. So.
Yeah, it's a pretty, like most of my styles are pretty thick. So it's not that sweet, but the thickness and fullness of the beer makes you think of sweetness. But there's quite a bit of hops as well, so it has a firm bitterness.
Okay. Yeah, I mean this smells beautiful, guys. That's what we taste. I find that really fruity in the beginning. I get a lot of red fruit out of that, and then the roastiness comes out later. That's lovely. Is that one going to say simple lag, or is that?
Maybe, we'll see. Haven't really planned exactly what happens here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I suppose that is the one thing with the Imperial Stouts as well, because this was a question that popped into my head earlier when I was on the way here. You started off as a gypsy brewer, and then of course the advantage you have with that, I think, is that obviously the stouts can sit in the bottles as long as you keep them in a good condition. They can sit in the bottles for a very long time, so you can brew a batch of beer and then think, do I want to release this one as a simple lag, and then you can choose to do the paperwork if you want. So do you view that as an advantage, or
it's yeah, it's definitely an advantage. I mean, it's really hard to do. If you like to brew new stuff all the time, like I do, it's really hard to do hoppy beers for Systembolaget. Yeah, because once they have kind of accepted the beer, it's too old. So if you want to do that, you always have to brew a batch, send in samples, do the paperwork, and then brew another batch.
Exactly.
And so you have to somehow sell the first batch somewhere else first.
Yeah.
And if you have a tap room, that might be easy. But it's a bit difficult. Then it's way easier. I mean, Lars Banken has been here on the day of canning, picking up stuff, selling it. So the customer gets it like 2 days after canning. That's not going to happen with Systembolaget.
Oh yeah. I have to admit, I think that would be a fun job to be the delivery guy for Glassbank, just to go around and pick stuff up. I think that would be an awesome job. So maybe someone from Glassbank is watching. If you need extra drivers, I will actually volunteer to do that. That would be good fun. But yeah, because the other thing I was thinking, it just came into my head. I was like, the other difficulty you have with these kind of things is like, hop contracts and stuff like that. So you actually are an advantage as well, that your beers are mainly malt based, because you can bring all the malt. I guess most of it comes from Germany.
Actually, we use mostly, the specialty malts are mostly Belgian or English.
Oh, okay.
But the base malt is local. It's from Viking malt, and it's produced here in Skåne.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's really nice.
Ah, yes, that's the guys from Mikael from Brewery was telling me that was what their Stone Slander was based on, was Viking malt. So that's interesting, because I actually would have thought most of your malt was coming from Germany. But I guess they use most of it themselves, probably.
Well, the roasted malts and the caramel malts, they might come from somewhere else. We buy lots of English and Belgian malt, some German as well. But at least it feels good to have a really local base malt to use.
That's pretty awesome. So your beers in that way, you have got the whole. You do have a little bit of Swedish produce in there. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, with Nerd beers, then you are getting, I guess, it's not right to say a proper Swedish beer. You're getting like a proper Swedish product, I guess. Then, so that's awesome. So our last question, then, I guess, is going forward to the future. In 5, maybe 10 years, what do you see coming for Nerd Brewing? You mentioned a tap room a minute ago. Is that something that you guys in the 4 breweries here might get together and do, or
who knows? I mean, it's a lot of work to run a tap room, of course, but it would be really nice to be able to put out beers directly to the customer. But of course, then you have to. We'll see if there was a lot of talk and beer news covered a lot of it about the taproom situation in Gothenburg, laws. They like decided to interpret the law some way that it was basically really hard to run a taproom. You basically needed a full restaurant.
Oh yeah, you have to serve food and things.
Yeah, of course. Makes things way harder, but we'll see. It's not planned yet. We'll see. Right now, we just try to ride out the Corona storm. I mean, since exports has gone way down, I still think we will make it through this. Some exports have started to come back, which is a good thing. So we'll just see, and we need to pick up production again. We'll see, but we don't really rush things. Small steps.
Oh yeah, small steps. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, just over the next few years, maybe brewing more styles of beer. If the laws relax on a tap, I guess maybe look at it, but focus on the beer.
Yeah. Right now because of the Corona situation, with exports going down, we have started to focus more on Systembolaget, so we will release more beer at Systembolaget. So that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, people always complain about that it's hard to get a hold of the beer, so it will be a little bit easier in the future.
Because that was the thing I remember when I came over here. People were talking. When I moved to Sweden in 2015, people were saying, "Oh, you need to try Nerd beer and Brewery." But because these were the two really high Skåne breweries at the time. But I think was it 2014? I think Brewery pulled out, but they came back in 2016. And your first release was 2018. Was it not? Was it 2018 you did your first Systembolaget?
I think so. Yeah. We have only done a few, but we will release. We are trying now to schedule 1 or 2 releases each month at Systembolaget from now. We released one stout just recently, the Override chocolate milkshake stout.
Oh yeah.
That was the first one now. Then next month we will release a few more.
I think I actually ordered that one in my June my June lot as well. So yeah, you will see me review the Override chocolate milk stout. I don't know when my box will come in the next. You'll see it in the next 2 weeks or something like that. But yeah, just so you have the date of this, we're filming this just in what was it, 8th of June today. 8th, 7th. Yeah. So we're filming this on the 8th of June. So yeah, just so you have a date reference there. But yeah, I guess we can kind of round it off there then. So Hannes, thank you for being my first victim for the Meet the Brewer segment. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this, and we will add a few more segments onto the video. I think Hannes picked out 2 beers for us to try, and this was the first one, so maybe we'll sit and do like a proper little tasting segment, and I'll edit this together. And obviously with these Meet the Brewers, I'll play with the format a little bit. But Hannes, thank you for doing this. And
thank you.
And yeah, so guys, if you haven't heard of Nerd Brewing, all the links and stuff are in the description below. Give them a follow on Facebook, Instagram, all of these kind of things. For those of you watching abroad, because I know there's a lot of you, Nerd Brewing, if you're a big fan of Imperial Stouts, these guys are just starting to get exports and things. They're in Japan and China now, starting to get across Europe, maybe North America and South America next.
Who knows?
Yeah. So keep an eye out for Nerd Brewing. What would you say is the kind of must-try beer? If there's one beer, like what would you say is your signature beer? Maybe? Is there one?
Signature? I'm not sure.
There we go. This thing. No. Oh dear. There we go. There we go. So yeah, signature beer.
I'm not sure. Maybe actually the one that was just released, the Override Imperial Chocolate Milkshake. It's tweaked this year's version a little bit, so it's even more creamy than before, and it's aged on cocoa nibs and vanilla. So it's dessert beer.
Okay, awesome. Well, that. So if you like your sweet Imperial Stouts, if you like your more roasty and toasty things, then you've got a whole plethora of things you can try from there. But I can't speak English anymore. But yeah, no. But Hannes, thank you for coming on the channel, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this. So we'll show you a few things around the brewery. We'll probably do a proper kind of sit down tasting of the other beer that Hannes picked out as well, and you can enjoy that. But yeah, let's go. Thank you. Let's go. Thank you. Let's go. Cheers. See you guys. Ciao. So yeah, guys, here we are, just kind of inside the warehouse part of the brewery. So as you can see, here are all the different malts. Hannes was telling me that it's a lot of English malt and a lot of Belgian malt and things like that they're using. But yeah, you can see here they've also got the kind of American Psycho style storage room and things, and this is where we were filming, of course. This is where we filmed the interview and things with Hannes. But yeah, if you go through here, you can see all of the different kettles and mashies and stuff like this that they have. So here you can see they've got 4 1,000 litre fermentation tanks, and then they've got a couple more 500 litre fermentation tanks here at the back as well. They've got a German mash tun, which Hannes was telling me is very difficult to brew the big stouts and things on, but they've had it a lot easier since they've started brewing with these other ones that we've got here. And yeah, you know, it looks really cool. They've got this big tank in here, which he was saying they're going to work on a little bit and stuff. So yeah, interesting thing. So this is a quick look. This is a little quick look at the brewing part of the brewery. Here you can see some kegs and stuff like that. And then this is the really cool part of the brewery. So Hannes has been preparing this. This is how Nerd Beer, Lille Ölfabriken and Chad Beer bottle all of their beers. So yeah, could you walk us through your bottling machine, Hannes?
Yeah, the bottling machine is over there.
This one? So this
nothing fancy, just a 2-head filler, and it also puts caps on them. Pushes the beers up to the small table. I'm sure you can see.
We can see that.
Where you can rinse the bottles. Then we.
This is my favourite part of the brewery. This is awesome. Look at this.
This is Chad's invention. Really MacGyver style thing. So it's a round table with a motor, and I can start it. And then so we just put the bottles on the table, and it pushes them out to the labeling machine.
See ya.
And time for waxing.
Yeah. then you can just watch these gradually dry, and I have to say it is very, very cool. So your Nerd Brewing beers that you get, this is it. You can see the little bits at the bottom starting to form now. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I think this is really cool. This is definitely my favourite bit of the brewery, is this kind of homemade labelling machine. This is awesome. So yeah, your bottles go from all the way over there with the tanks to the bottling machine here, into this crate, onto the magic table, through the label machine, into the wax pot, and there you go. There is your finished product that you're going to get through Glass Banquet and everything. There you are, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little mini brewery tour part of the video. But yeah, this has been awesome, and I'll catch you guys in the next Meet the Brewer segment. Cheers.